Welcome, everybody, to the 2025 WNBA Finals presented by YouTube TV. We'll begin with remarks from Commissioner Cathy Engelbert, and then we'll turn it over.
Something massive just
erupted involving the WNBA. It's Commissioner Cathy Engelbert and the woman who has completely reshaped the league, Caitlin Clark. And if you thought Clark's 2025 season was dramatic, what's coming next feels even bigger. Engelbert stepped onto national television and delivered a statement about Clark that caught fans off guard and instantly shifted the conversation heading into 2026. But to understand why this moment matters, you have to rewind to 2024, when Clark entered the league and everything changed overnight. Television ratings surged, arenas filled to capacity, Indiana Fever tickets skyrocketed to playoff-level demand, merchandise vanished from shelves and sponsors rushed in, turning every broadcast and highlight into a Clark-driven spectacle. The league had been growing steadily, but this felt like a cultural explosion, and Clark was the spark high voltage. Yet while excitement reached historic highs, tension quietly built beneath the surface, a brewing conflict between players and leadership that threatened to erupt. The 2025 season was supposed to cement the momentum, with Clark coming off a historic rookie year and Indiana building real hope, but everything shifted when injuries struck again and again, until a right groin strain ended her season after just 13 games. Even then, she averaged 16.5 points, 8.8 assists, and 5.0 rebounds, proving the brilliance never disappeared, only paused, leaving fans across the United States waiting, wondering, and sensing that the next chapter was about to be even more explosive fire basketball. Meanwhile, Indiana clawed its way to the edge of the WNBA Finals, pushing through doubt and pressure before finally colliding with the Las Vegas Aces in a semi-final that felt heavier than a single loss. But the injury-shortened season sparked something far larger, a conversation that stretched beyond hardwood and box scores into money, influence, and the future of the entire league. While Caitlin Clark fought through rehab, tension quietly built as the WNBA and its players' union drifted toward a showdown. The collective bargaining agreement with the Women's National Basketball Players Association crept toward expiration, and the gap between both sides widened with every passing day, turning whispers into warning signs fans across America could feel. Players demanded revenue sharing, dramatically higher salaries, chartered flights, better facilities, and real investment in careers that were suddenly drawing national attention. The league kept repeating one word, sustainability, every time demands surfaced and frustration boiled over. Nafisa Collier, one of the league's brightest stars, unleashed her frustration at the end-of-season press conference, calling leadership the worst in the world, not quietly, not cautiously, but loud enough for the entire league to hear, sending shockwaves through locker rooms everywhere. Teammates and rivals immediately rallied behind her, voices stacking one after another as years of frustration poured into the spotlight. Suddenly, Commissioner Cathy Engelbert found herself in the most uncomfortable moment of her tenure, and then the situation exploded further when Collier alleged Engelbert told her that Clark and players like her should be grateful, even on their knees, for the platform the league provided, implying Clark would be nothing without it. The allegation detonated across social media, igniting debate among fans, media, and former players. Was the league dismissing its own rising star, or was this a misunderstanding spiraling out of control? Engelbert pushed back forcefully, denying the comment, calling Clark transformational, acknowledging inaccuracies, expressing disappointment, and insisting the league had to be better moving forward. But the damage was done. Trust between the players and league leadership had cracked. And heading into the winter of 2025, nobody knew if there would even be a 2026 season at all. The negotiations got ugly. Deadline after deadline passed with no agreement. January came and there was still no deal, and when the league triggered an automatic revenue share of roughly $8 million from benchmarks in the old CBA, it felt insignificant compared to what players believed they had earned through the league's explosive growth. Then Caitlin Clark stepped into the conversation publicly, speaking during a USA basketball training camp at Duke University, making it clear that the moment was too important to waste, and that the league had to find a way to play in 2026 no matter what. The players' union quickly agreed with her stance, but insisted the league itself was refusing to move, placing Clark in the rare position of calmly challenging both sides while demanding progress. Her composed, diplomatic tone only made the stalled negotiations feel even more tense, and fans watched the drama unfold in real time as pressure mounted with each passing day. Then, in mid-March 2026, after months of exhausting negotiations, marathon sessions stretching into 4 a.m, 10-hour meetings, and endless back and forth between lawyers over language, numbers, and percentages, the WNBA and the Women's National Basketball Players Association finally reached a verbal agreement on a historic 7-year collective bargaining deal, the longest in league history. The financial details were staggering, with the salary cap jumping from $1.5 million in 2025 to $7 million immediately, a massive leap of more than 360%, supermax salaries starting at $1.4 million, average salaries projected around $600,000, and minimum contracts rising above $300,000 for the first time. All backed by full revenue sharing for every player without thresholds or triggers. Cathy Engelbert called it the beginning of a bold new era, and when she appeared on ESPN's The Pat McAfee Show, she made it unmistakably clear how central Clark had been to the league's surge, pointing to expanded schedules from 32 games when she arrived to a potential 52 under the new agreement. Growth she directly connected to stars who had turned the WNBA into must-watch basketball across the United States. When Cathy Engelbert publicly praised Caitlin Clark, calling her a driving force behind the league's surge, the moment carried far more weight than a simple compliment, especially when she went even further and applauded Clark's off-season role as a guest analyst for NBC's NBA coverage, saying she couldn't be prouder of how Clark handled the spotlight, a sharp pivot that signaled a powerful shift in tone. During her recovery from injuries, Clark stepped onto the national stage, debuting courtside ahead of a matchup between the Los Angeles Lakers and New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden, then returning weeks later for another broadcast featuring Oklahoma City Thunder, and every appearance sent social media engagement soaring, proving fans were tuning in specifically to watch Clark. The message was unmistakable. She wasn't just a WNBA star, she was becoming a crossover phenomenon, and the league wanted the world to see it. At the same time, Clark was grinding through 8 months of rehabilitation before returning to competition with USA Basketball at the FIBA Women's World Cup qualifying tournament in San Juan, where she led the United States to a perfect 5-0 record and claimed tournament MVP, showing her range, playmaking, and leadership were fully back. She admitted she finally felt like herself again, healthy, energized, and ready for packed arenas across the country, a declaration that the Caitlin Clark phenomenon had returned. Then she ignited the off-season conversation by stating the Indiana Fever would be favorites to win the 2026 title, not contenders, favorites, while emphasizing the urgency of re-signing Kelsey Mitchell and building around Aaliyah Boston, even as the new CBA's $7 million salary cap created a complex puzzle where max deals for all 3 stars could consume nearly half the cap, turning every roster decision into a high-stakes gamble, shrinking margins, and making depth and health more critical than ever as Indiana chased a championship under the brightest spotlight in the league.